Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. The regular meeting, of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is now called to order at, I believe it is 9:33. 32 still. Okay, didn't change. Okay, a.m. You may join today's meeting in person at a limited capacity via Zoom, webinar, or watch the live stream from the College of the Desert YouTube channel. These links are accessible by visiting the College of the Desert homepage. At this time, President Hope, please proceed with the roll call.
Student Trustee Zarco.
Present.
Trustee Perez. Trustee Oden.
Present.
Trustee Kinnaman.
President Hope, I'm present, and I also wanted to notify the board and the public of my need to participate remotely for just cause. I am suffering and recovering from medical issues that currently prevents me from appearing at the board meeting in person. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kinnaman. Trustee Gonzalez.
Good morning, present.
Trustee Stefan.
Present. Good morning. And at this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could have Trustee Gonzalez lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay. At this time, the board meeting agenda. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by a 2/3 vote of the board. If fewer than 2/3 of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present determine that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda for February 19th, 2024? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. If we could have a roll call vote, please, President Hope.
Student Trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez. Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That brings us to public comments. Requests to address the Board of Trustees regarding regular agenda items. Remote public participation is allowed and will be accepted in person by email to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu during the meeting and submitted for the record, or by using the raise your hand function by joining the Zoom link. Pursuant to District Administrative Procedure 2345, each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on any one subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these limits may be extended. All comments must be submitted or brought forward prior to the end of the public comments section. As an additional note, this item is intended for members of the public who wish to speak regarding regular agenda items. An opportunity to address the board on matters not related to the agenda will be available during item 21.01 of today's agenda. Armando, have we received any requests for public comments?
There are no public comments at this time.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll move on. It's now time for public updates. First off, 4.01, proclamation, the National Athletic Training Month. President Hope, please help us introduce our readers.
Thank you so much, Chair Stefan. It's my pleasure to introduce Vice President Martinez Garcia, who will be introducing the student who will read the proclamation for National Athletic Training Month.
Thank you, President Hope. Thank you, Madam Chair. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today Valerie Calderon, athletic trainer, who will introduce our student speaker, Efrain Mendoza, and they'll be reading the proclamation for National Athletic Training Month.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce Efrain Mendoza, one of our sports medicine students, to read proclamation for National Athletic Training Month. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Whereas athletic trainers have a long history of providing quality health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activity based on specific tasks, knowledge, and skills acquired through their nationally regulated educational processes, and whereas athletic trainers provide prevention of injuries, recognition, evaluation, and aggressive treatment, rehabilitation, healthcare, administration, education, and guidance, compassionate care for all, and whereas the National Athletic Trainers Association represents and supports 44,000 members of the athletic training profession employed in the following settings: professional sports, colleges and universities, high schools, clinics and hospitals, corporate and industrial settings, performing arts, military branches, and whereas leading organizations concerned with athletic training and healthcare have joined together in common desire to raise public awareness of the importance of the athletic training profession and to emphasize the importance of quality healthcare within the aforementioned settings. And whereas such an effort will improve healthcare for athletes and those engaged in physical activity and promote athletic trainers as health professionals. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District and its board meeting of February 15th, 2024, designated the month of March 2024 as National Athletic Training Month. The Board of Trustees urges everyone to learn more and about the importance of athletic training. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees encourages the observance of National Athletic Training Month throughout the entire community college district. Thank you.
Thank you, Efrain and Valerie. At this time, we'll move to 4.02, Proclamation, Women's History Month. President Hope, please help us introduce our readers.
At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce one of our readers and one of our students, Kelly Merchant, our ASCOD president, a student we all know and love, and one I am particularly proud of. Kelly, would you please come to the podium and read the proclamation?
Good morning. Thank you, President Hope, for that introduction. It's wonderful to be here again. So let's get to the proclamation. Whereas women of every race, class, ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of the United States in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of economic health and prosperity and domestic tranquility. Whereas women have played a unique role throughout history of the nation and providing the majority of volunteering that occurs in the United States. Whereas women were particularly important during the establishment of early charitable and philanthropic and cultural institutions in our nation. Whereas women in the United States served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. Whereas women have served our country courageously in the military. Whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights and suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, emancipation movement, and the industrial labor movement, civil rights movement, and other movements which create more fair and just society for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District at its board meeting of February 15th, 2024, designate March 2024 as Women's History Month. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees encourages observance of Women's History Month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. That was wonderful, too. 4.3, the new employee appointments. President Hope, please help us introduce our newest employee appointments.
Yes, thank you so much, President Stefan. As you can see on our screen, we've got a number of employees who we are happy to celebrate joining our team. Daniel Hernandez, Admissions and Records Technician. Daniel, are you here? If you're here, just stand when I call your name. Veronica Zamora, Outreach Specialist for our EDGE and Pledge program. Jacob Knapp, our General Counsel. Duyen Pham, Chemistry Instructor, hired full-time. And Dr. Michael Silvera, Dean of Mathematics and Sciences. Welcome to the team.
Okay, thank you so much. And at this time, 4.04, the MSTAR update on the NASA programs. President Hope, please help us introduce our presenters for this next item.
So at this time, I'd like to ask Vice President Martinez Garcia to introduce the faculty and staff and students who are responsible for our NASA program. This is in response to Trustee Gonzalez's request to get an update on information, and we're incredibly proud of their efforts.
Thank you, President Hope, Madam Chair. It is with my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you Dean Mike Silvera, who will be introducing the team led by Dr. Ahmed Al-Shafi. And basically, this is the NASA grant that we have been so proud of and so enthusiastically celebrating across the valley. And so let's give Mike his time.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce the wonderful faculty team we have here for the NASA grant. They are the group that will be presenting to you today will be Professors Ahmed El-Shafi, Amira El-Sanusi, and Michael Garrity.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for inviting us today. It is a pleasure. So today we are going to give you a brief about our updates for the NASA proposal that we are currently enrolled in. So basically, as you may probably know, that NASA is under presidential orders to send the humans to Mars by 2030. And in order for this to take place, those astronauts, they need to breathe on Mars. And one of the critical issues is that they cannot take oxygen directly from Earth. So they have to resource that directly from Mars. Currently, with the presence of the Perseverance rover, which is currently on Mars, and on board there is a MOXIE instrument, which can capable of converting the carbon dioxide from the Martian atmosphere to pure oxygen. All of that, after 6 months of operation, they can only produce amount of oxygen enough for a small dog to breathe for about 6 hours. In that regard, we turned in a proposal to NASA on board from College of the Desert, and we have been awarded close to $1 million. So it is $900K to be exact. In that regard, we have a team, and that team composed of university partners from University of Arkansas, and also industrials from Nanometronics. We also have collaborators from NASA Jet Propulsion Lab, and our team here at College of the Desert. So in this regard, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Garrett.
All right, there's no liquid running water on the surface of Mars. Most of the water on Mars is locked up in ice. It's a very cold planet. So we have been sending rovers and the orbiters to Mars since the 70s, and we have a lot of information on what the surface and subsurface and atmosphere of Mars is like. This is an image from Mars, and if we zoom in on one of these regions, we see that during the day, the water ice on Mars is locked up underneath the subsurface, and it melts and freezes and melts and freezes. And so we know there's water on Mars just underneath the surface. So we have an instrument, there's a lander on Mars that has a scoop, and it has scooped into the surface, dumped it into a little test cell, and we know exactly what the composition of that subsurface of Mars is.
So basically, the image that Michael showed over here, it's just for the surface of Mars. The composition of the soil on the surface of Mars was really surprised for many scientists. They found the minerals on the surface like magnesium, calcium, sodium, and the main one that we are looking for here, and it was a surprise for NASA as well, finding perchlorate. Perchlorate sources are rare on Earth, to find on Earth, but they are really toxic for human. So if you breathe it, it's really toxic. So it's a big issue for NASA to find perchlorates on the surface of Mars. But perchlorates also do have some advantage. They hold water molecules in it. So they are hygroscopic salts. So they are attracting just water from the atmosphere, and they just holding these water molecules on the surface. And that's a big advantage of it. So we can use these perchlorates and trying to take this water out of it from the surface of Mars, trying to take oxygen out of this water and salts on the surface. So basically, perchlorates are a good news or a bad news for human on Mars. Basically, it's bad news for toxicity for humans, but we can use it as and utilize it from the surface, trying to take it or take the oxygen out of it. So that's why we use it. So it's on the surface of Mars, just in the soil. So why not using it, taking oxygen and hydrogen? How we will do this? Our team is proposing to do this using electrolysis process. Electrolysis, it's being common for human, just to do electrolysis all the time, just using electrical current, and just let oxygen, hydrogen come out of it. But what we will do, we will try to just extract it from the soil. So we will have marshy simulant, like soil, exactly like the one on Mars, and add to this soil perchlorate salts and chlorates and some other salts that we can find on Mars, just to mix it with the soil and let the magic happen. Just take the oxygen and hydrogen out of it. Okay? So now I will hand it to Michael to show you what we got.
So there's a couple of things we promised to Mars we'd do with this research grant. We'd hired COD student researchers to perform rigorous scientific testing of something that's never been done before. Water electrolysis has been done since 1850, but never in a soil Martian simulant. That's what we're going to do. We're going to vary all of these things, employ the scientific method, and validate the science not only to ourselves, but to NASA and to the world. So what we promised NASA to do is validate the science, build an instrument that can perform this on the surface of Mars, publish our results in scientific journals, and then go tell all the high school students in the Coachella Valley what interesting and unique opportunities will await them when they transfer to College of the Desert. This is our team. These are the student researchers we hired back in the fall. They are fantastic, and they are doing excellent scientific work. And these are some of our preliminary results. Every one of these upslopes that you see on this red graph represents oxygen that we've detected during our electrolysis process. So we're well on our way within the first semester of our grant, and we have over 1,000 tests to perform in the next 2.5 years.
In that regard, not only this, we are going to conduct some of our experiments under Martian environmental conditions, and that we are going to utilize our cryogenic chamber. This chamber can go down to minus 200 degrees C, and we can go up to 500 degrees C. So we are going to utilize this to simulate the conditions that is very feasible on Mars. These are some of the simulation that we are going to use in terms of the penetralizer or the instrument that we are going to have. So by the end of this proposal, we are going to develop an instrument, and that instrument will be capable of hopefully extract that oxygen and hydrogen from the Martian surface. This is an outline of how the penetralizer will look like. And by the end of this proposal, there is a huge impact of it. Part of that impact is directly related to College of the Desert, and some of it will be on the community. For College of the Desert, there is a huge impact on the students, faculty, research capability, and definitely for our community. As Mike said, we are going to be visiting local high schools and K-12 to excite them about NASA, about the opportunities that are ahead of them at College of the Desert. In terms of our students, we are going to hire 40 student researchers during the entire time of the proposal, and they are going to be fully paid. Not only that, 6 out of those students will be supported for a fully 10 weeks at NASA Jet Propulsion Lab for a research as an undergrad. They are going to conduct research with scientists over there, fully supported. In terms of our faculty, definitely this will improve our faculty skills, network with NASA and four-year universities, and secure future grants for our students. And definitely this will enhance College of the Desert in terms of its capability, in terms of equipment-wise. So this is just a little intro to what we are going to do, and hopefully if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those questions.
Wow.
Wow. Mouthful. I'm still trying to get all that in. Okay. Do any of my fellow trustees have any questions that you would like to address or?
I just want to say thank you. I feel like a couple degrees smarter now, but after listening to all of you, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, wow, what an opportunity for students, and the fact that you're already thinking of, using this to go into the school systems, right, in our local school districts is just amazing. I really want to applaud and thank all of you and everyone who was involved in putting the presentation together, and more importantly, the grant and all the work that you're doing. This is just, wow, it just blew me away. This is excellent. Fun fact about me, I'm fascinated by space. I follow a lot of different pages, and I always go watch meteor showers, and I look at what planets are coming up. I've always been fascinated by it. So it's a special area of interest. I am nowhere near as intelligent as you are, but but I still like it. But no, thank you. This is amazing. I can't wait to see where our students here at COD go from here. I mean, this is just, I can just imagine them discovering something, or just being this, like an Albert Einstein or something in the future. So thank you so much. This is great. What a great way to start our meeting.
Yes.
This is fabulous. Thank you.
If I can impress you a little more, we are the only community college who received a grant from NASA.
Wow. That's excellent.
If I may, I took Mr. Garrity's class last semester for astronomy, and I loved his lectures. So this kind of felt like another lecture added on to that. And it was great to just like watch and stuff. Another thing, a fun fact, my cousin is actually on the NASA team as a student. And just hearing about like the progress and all that is just so cool to see.
Oh, that's wonderful. Trustee Perez, anything? Trustee Oden?
I agree. What a way to start our meeting. This was an incredible presentation. This makes me so proud of this institution. I mean, we're the only community college that has a program like this, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to read the presentation, because otherwise I would have needed a Mars for Dummies orientation. But it was excellent. I just have a question about the employment opportunities for students. Are they all from the department or within the program, or the general campus will have a variety of opportunities, or do you know?
For sure. We have two student segments. One of them, they are going to be student researchers, and those are going to be funded from the grant. And also, we are going to fund 6 out of the entire group that they are going to go for an GPL or go for NASA internships at GPL for during the summer.
Thank you.
I want to tell you guys, this was phenomenal. I feel like I've just been in NASA getting an education on all of this, but to think that it's homegrown and it's here and it's for our students, and it's just, I want to thank you from the very, very bottom of my heart. I mean, this is just incredible. Thank you so very, very much. I want to thank Dr. Elsef. I'm not going to say this right. I'm so sorry. El-Shafei and Dean Silveria and the rest of the MSTAR team, because, I mean, this was a great presentation, but just knowing that you guys are working full-time on this and, with your other duties here at the college, it's just incredible. And I want to thank you very, very, very much. On behalf of our students. Thank you. And at this time, we'll move on for the approval of the regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular meeting minutes of January 19th, 2024? If there are no corrections to the minutes, they stand approved as presented. At this time, we'll move into the reports. Representing the Associated Students of College of the Desert, ASCOD, Kelly Merchant, ASCOD President.
Morning. Okay. So foremost, I want to wish everyone a belated Happy New Year. This is going to be the first time that I join you guys here in this room in 2024. I wish you all success, happiness, and well-being in this upcoming year. With that being said, let's dive into the ASCOD report. Over the winter break, ASCOD had a winter retreat where we were joined by 3 ICC representatives. We refreshed on parliamentary procedure and learned about networking and refining our roles as leaders. A highlight of the event was President Hope's address. 5 ASCOD members, including myself and student trustee Zarko, participated in a panel to amplify our student experiences. This was a valuable moment for visibility for the students. As I said in the panel, I hope future student governments receive the same opportunity. The retreat concluded with the review of our goals which surrounded advocating for OER and ZTC, building relationships with faculty, and having fruitful meetings. Those will be our focus in the upcoming spring semester. After the retreat, we had a small bonding session over dinner where I got to see my team truly bond and come together. It filled my heart to hear our dinner filled with laughs and conversation. I appreciate the effort my team and the ICC reps made to show up to the retreat, as well as effort from OSL to coordinate a successful retreat. Since then, we've participated in Welcome Week at the Palm Desert campus and at the Indio campus. Early in the week at Palm Desert, we collaborated with Edge to fill tables and direct students. In the latter half of the week at Indio, we stirred up some hot cocoa to warm up the evening students. We gave directions and wished luck in their first week of school. As we got to interact with students, we heard several reports of the students' inability to reach the task center. Students needed to print documents for their classes, but unfortunately were met with a closed library. We offered a solution of the nearby Indio library. However, as it was after 6 p.m., students were not able to access that either. To accommodate students needing a study space, we welcome them into the busy lobby. As I am reporting this, there are plenty of plans out for February, and once they pass, will be included in my next report. Most notably, today is our Lunch and Learn. Is one of our Lunch and Learn events coordinated by Student Trustee Zarko and his committee. I'm looking forward to updating you guys at the end of next month. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, the College of the Desert Foundation. Kathy Abbott, the Foundation Executive Director, is unable to be here today, so we have a written report that was submitted. The California School Employees Association, CSEA, there is no report. And no one's here to represent them. And goodbye to all the students. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Let's see. College of the Desert Adjunct Association. CODA has a written report that they submitted, and I believe no one's here to read that either. College of the Desert Faculty Association, CODFA. Oceana Collins, Code for President. And she's not here either. But that was also submitted. The Academic Senate, Dr. Corbin Wild, Academic Senate President, is here. And she's coming up to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very good.
Yeah, it's a good day, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this semester in my board reports, I'm going to highlight the amazing accomplishments of each of our Senate committees one by one. So today, I'm very pleased to present to you a comprehensive overview of the recent accomplishments and ongoing initiatives of the Outcomes and Assessment Committee, led by Christy Camacho. Their work reflects an outcomes-oriented commitment to academic excellence, equity, and continuous improvement. I'd really just like to take this time to share a couple of their accomplishments lately. First, I'm delighted to report the successful hosting of our annual program showcase, where we celebrated the achievements of several noteworthy programs. This year, the spotlight shone brightly on the Human Services Alcohol and Drug Studies program, the Basic Correctional and Peace Officer Training programs, which are 2 different programs, by the way, so they had 2 presentations, the Automotive program, and Biology. These presentations were truly windows into the amazing work of our faculty and all the ways they serve our students. This OAC and faculty development hosted event provided a platform for our stakeholders to celebrate celebrate the triumphs of these programs while engaging in constructive dialogue about their future growth and development. It exemplified our commitment to recognizing excellence and fostering a culture of collaboration and innovation. These presentations are available if anyone is interested in seeing them. Each of the faculty members did a full PowerPoint as well as a narrative. I do recommend particularly the biology presentation. It was very, very funny. Now you're like curious, how could biology be funny? You'll see. The Outcomes and Assessment Committee continues to spearhead efforts related to program enhancement plans and program enhancement plan updates. These PEPs are a way of facilitating meaningful reflection on our programs in a collaborative and systemic manner, which fulfills a necessary accreditation requirement. I'm pleased to announce that OAC has recently completed a thorough revision of the PEPs in collaboration with institutional research. Thank you so much to Oksana and Gloria and IR for all of their support. These revisions have placed students and equity at the forefront of our program reviews, underscoring our commitment to continuous improvement and accountability. Faculty, just a reminder, PEPs are due March 15th, and I encourage all of our board members to spend some time getting to know our programs through these documents. Last but not least, one of the significant achievements of the OAC has been the establishment of the Dual and Concurrent Enrollment Subcommittee. This subcommittee is tasked with fine-tuning academically rigorous and equitable partnerships with our K-12 counterparts. By fostering these partnerships in transparent and effective ways, we aim to provide enhanced educational opportunities for high school students while ensuring seamless transitions into higher education. OAC will shepherd this new subcommittee as they reach out across the valley to provide educational access for all. Of course, this is just a minor snapshot of all the ways in which our OAC fosters meaningful learning and reflection across campus. Truly, the Outcomes and Assessment Committee remains steadfast in its commitment to advancing the academic mission of our institution. Thank you again to Christy Camacho, Olympia Polfatis, Stan Henry, Whitney Shaw, Elizabeth Walker, Adam Gill, Laura Lee Jackson, Beth Allen Bettany, Evelyn Trejo, Adrian Casas, Kimberly Brooks, and Melissa Fora. These faculty members are putting in the work to take our college to greater heights. Thank you. Have a great day. Seriously, they are amazing. They're really, really hard workers, and they truly care about our students. Thank you.
Corbin, can you talk a little bit about your acceptance also at the ACCJC conference and what you're presenting there?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Christy Camacho and I did put into the ACCJC to present on College of the Desert's Program Showcase Initiative. This is an initiative that came out of OAC, supported by our Academic Senate. And essentially what we do is we take a necessary requirement of all programs, which is to do a program review, and we turn it from an obligation into a celebration through our Program Showcase. We make it a way for us to look at these things in real time in real life, rather than keep them kind of filed away in a sort of digital no man's land. So we are going to be sharing with our counterparts across the state ways in which they too can celebrate their programs. Yeah.
And I want to tell the board when Corbin, because Christy couldn't make it, when Corbin presented to Mac Powell, who's the president of ACCJC, he was extremely impressed with the efforts by our faculty, and he specifically asked Corbin to apply to do a presentation at the conference.
And I think I said no, but then I did apply. But I did want to add on to that. It's kind of, the program showcase is kind of indicative of College of the Desert as a whole. We've been doing the showcase for years, and we didn't really know what we had, but when Chrissy and I started going to conferences and we were just like, oh yeah, and then we do the program showcase, the curiosity and support we got from other faculty members across the country was amazing. People reach out to us all the time wanting to know how we do it, how we make it work, and several other institutions are starting to replicate that. But we've been doing it here for, golly, as long as I've been here, at least a decade. So yeah, we're great. Well, we knew that though. Yeah, have a great day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. At this time, we'll move into the governing board. If I could have student trustee Zarko.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing good, great, fantastic, and all that. First, I'd like to wish Trustee Kinnaman a speedy recovery. I hope you do better. I want to talk about the ribbon cutting event this morning. It was great for those who were there. It was fantastic to see, and the progress on that was just amazing. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm having a pretty good year so far. I want to talk about a week before the spring semester. You could look at it as a story if you want, but let's start off. January 22nd was the start of the week, a Monday. I attended some civic engagement training by the College Corps program where there were multiple speakers giving presentations on civic engagement and general resources that could be valuable for fellows as a part of the College Corps program. But the months beforehand, I was not really participating much in College Corps. When they had group trainings and such, I was mostly absent. This day felt like a reunion with myself partaking in training once again and participating more than I would have before. That spark just went off in me again because of the fellows that are a part of the program and the advisors that guide us. It was something that was missing, and I felt like reuniting helped bring that spark. Tuesday, the 23rd of January, I attended the ribbon cutting for the Child Development Center at the Indio campus. It was a great experience to be a part of and stunning to see the building and how it was going to be used. That same day of the ribbon cutting was family night at the Indio campus where multiple families attended and resources were being tabled. I had a good time at the event and hope to see its return in the future. This day felt like family, the family of College of the Desert, the family of those who attend College of the Desert, and the families who support College of the Desert. It felt right and it felt like family. When I went home that day, it reminded me to make sure that I still have time with my family and that great things can be done as a family. Wednesday, January 24th, was the continuation of the College Corps training, but on this day, there was a specific speaker that caught my attention. His name was Oscar. He works at Cal State San Bernardino, and his presentation was great. It was on networking, but the way he approached it, it was about self-growth. The way I understood it was if you grow and have confidence in yourself and believe in what you do and trust it, others would see it in you. It's an idea that I can relate to and have continued to stick by, and the fact that it was on that week just helps make the idea even stronger. Self-growth is important. Thursday, January 25th, I had a work meeting with the Office of Student Life. This was preparing us for the semester with the work to come and the reminder of our ways. This felt like a presentation prep for the semester as a whole and reminded me that I'm close to the finish line with COD. As this is my last semester, I hope to make it the best and prepare for the future to come. Finally, Friday, January 26th, ASCOD held its winter retreat. Professional training on networking and the concept of the elevator pitch was presented. We as a group also discussed our goals and aspirations for the spring semester. During that same day of the retreat, the student panel was held. I participated in it and an opportunity to give insight on the college. The scope of the student panel returning is big. It can continue to give students the chance to have their voice heard and an opportunity for the college to take that and apply it. I wish to see it continue and be a part of College of Desert's routine. This final day of the week felt like an opportunity for the future, the opportunity for insight. I believe opportunity is one of the most important things offered to anyone, but it's on the person to decide how they would take that opportunity. So what am I getting at? Talking about reuniting, talking about family, self-growth, preparation, and opportunity. The 1 week before the semester, these are the themes that I noticed. I believe these themes are important for us to thrive as a community college, but even just as ourselves, to always remember to go back to what we are here to do, to how we are, and as a unit we are, to how we can grow and what comes with that. This is what I felt going into the semester, and that's what I'm gonna stick by.
Thank you so much. That was so insightful. Wonderful. Trustee Perez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I gotta say, it's getting really hard to follow Trustee Zarco here, man. You speak really great, brother. Thank you, Madam Chair. Buenos dias, comunidad. I had the opportunity to attend our Child Development Center ribbon cutting in Indio. What a wonderful event, and it was very well attended by the members of the community, and you can feel the excitement that was radiating throughout the center. I also stopped by and said hello at our family night, which was being held right across the street. And again, great event. Thank you to all that helped organize it and participated. Lastly, I attended the COD Foundation Executive Committee and general meetings that they had a few weeks ago and gave an update about what's going on at the college, and they were happy to have a trustee there. So I'll be attending those a little bit more often as my schedule permits. Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes my report.
Very nice. Thank you. I'm so glad you could make it to the foundation meeting. Trustee Oden, your report, please.
Yes, I had an opportunity to be on campus during Flex for the president's speech and the presentation, and there was a student panel which was just outstanding. Well, obviously I've been to so many of those over the years, 30-something, but to hear from the students directly I think it was quite impressive. So for those who participated, thank you. But there was such a benefit, I think, for the faculty and for the community to hear from the students. Hopefully, this will continue. I also attended the Schnitzer presentation for the campus, which was quite enlightening. And I think there are times when we can attend different events and hear the faculty's perspective on various issues, and the importance of making sure that our communication is what we think it is. So that was really enlightening for me. I also attended Roadrunner Express ribbon cutting this morning, and it was just great. I mean, I'm in India a couple of days a week, so I've seen it in action. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the ribbon cutting and dedication of the Child Development Center, but I'm there and I see it in action. So thank you. It's really good to see so many things that we talk about being implemented and making a difference in the lives of our students. That's really meaningful. I attended a meeting between COD and the City of Palm Springs along with the subcommittee, and that was really beneficial. And I just want to say a word about Women's History Month. Women have made so much progress, but there's more to be made. And it's good to see the number of women actively involved, not only in the political arena, but in this institution as well. So I'm glad to see that progress as well. One more thing. I was appointed to the board of the McCallum. And I think that the board could be better served.
The event itself was just beautiful. It was well attended. There was a lot of representation from across the valley, and I thought that was really important for everybody to come together to celebrate a center that's going to provide such an amazing service for the community. I also went across the street and had some really good tacos and visited with a lot of the fine folks here from College of the Desert. It was jam-packed room, so many resources. It was great. Really always happy to say hello to everyone and just learn more about what you all do and the services that are provided. So just the whole event itself was very well put together. So thank you to everyone who was involved. I'm sure there's so many people, I couldn't name them all. But I'm looking forward to the next ribbon cutting, which will be the other building. I know everybody's like, when is that going to happen? I'm like, just keep watching. It's almost there. So looking forward to that. I also had an opportunity to attend the National Legislative Conference this past week or week before in DC, and it's always great to sit in tables with people that you don't know and just hear some of the things that other colleges are doing that are wonderful, and then we get to brag about all the great things that we're doing here at College of the Desert. I always end up making new friends, and it's always great because then we start talking and trading off ideas and whatnot, and sharing some of the nuances of being a trustee. So that's always great. They always line up amazing speakers. I mean, it is always just excellent. Very reinvigorating. It's just really great to be in a room with people from across the United States and just network and see some people that we already know, meet some new people. We even got to take a picture with Abe Lincoln and George Washington. impersonators, of course. But it's always a great conference. There's a lot of priorities that align with a lot of the things that we're already doing here, and that's always great for me to see that, we're ahead of the game, if you will, by me seeing what the priorities are and seeing that we're already addressing some of those or heading that way. So, just proud to continue to serve here, and I'm always willing to learn and, just to help make this institution better and better, because it's already great. But I think for me, that's all. I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. I like chocolate, so I actually did have some chocolate. It was really good. So I hope all of you had a great day and were able to celebrate, get a hug from someone. And with that, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez. I'll tell you, we had a lot of things going on this last month, a lot of activities, and I'm so glad to hear that all of my fellow trustees were able to get to various activities, because there's no way any one of us could make all of those. So I really, really appreciate that. I want my board to know that, and I want the college to know how impressed I am with all of the things that we've accomplished, and we've had, I think, 3 or 4 ribbon cuttings. We've had a welcome reception. I know Trustee Gonzalez and myself were in DC. She got her picture with the former presidents, and I got my picture with a bunch of their beautiful backdrops of the different monuments. And I showed that to my students when I got back. This is where I was. And they went, "Oh, you went to see those?" I said, "No, I got to stand in front of pictures of them and get my picture taken." So they were very unimpressed, I think, at that point. But I really do appreciate all the work that everyone here at the college has been extra work has been putting in to help us with these ribbon cuttings so that we can get things going. I know the Indio Child Development Center is very, very dear to my heart. If it wasn't for child development program at the community college that I attended, I may not have been able to complete my college degrees. And it was there, and I could let my child participate in it. And when we were in DC, one of the sessions that I did attend was on kids in college, and they were talking about the child development centers and how important it is to have those available for our students so that they can attend their classes and not worry about where their children are or what's happening, or maybe they couldn't get a babysitter and they couldn't attend class that night or go and take their final when it needed to be taken. So that was a very emotional evening for me, because I almost broke down and cried before I said my few words that I was supposed to say. And it was just very, very moving for me. And then having the family night there and being able to talk to some prospective students and their families, and talk again with a lot of our staff on some of the things that they're doing with their classes. It's just absolutely incredible. And then today, our Roadrunner Express, to see that coming to fruition so that our students can get from one campus to another and not have to wonder, what time is the sun bus coming? Did it break down? What's going on today? Is this a special holiday? Did they change the schedule? And having been stuck and having to take the sun bus one time, I found out how long it can actually take you to get from Cathedral City for me to get back home to Indio. It took 10 hours. And so that was quite an experience, and it's not an experience that I think our students should have to experience just so that they can go to college and maybe attend multiple campuses. So we've streamlined that, I hope, a little bit, and I hope that when people see the ribbon cutting on the TV, maybe they'll find out, want to learn a little bit more about it, and maybe contribute to the foundation or become a member of the foundation and help us maybe even get another Roadrunner Express out there so that we can keep going with that program, because it's very, very valuable for our students. And with that, I'm going to just wish everyone, I know we've had a Chinese New Year, we've had Mardi Gras, we've had Ash Wednesday, and we've had Valentine's Day, and we have a few more holidays coming up this next month, and we have the fair that is opening up on Friday tomorrow, the Date Festival. So there's a lot of things to celebrate, but anytime we can celebrate our students in our college, I'm just thrilled. So with that, hopefully everyone's having a great time this time of year. And at this time, if we could go to our superintendent president, President Hope, would
Thank
you
you,
please
Chair
provide your report?
Just want to reinforce what all of the trustees said about being at family night and at the CDC opening. I really appreciated the fact that all of the trustees were present, and that always excites and really endears the campus. They feel your support and appreciate your support. And it was a terrific event. We will be having a family night event twice a semester. We'll have one in the East Valley and one in the West Valley each term. That includes supporting prospective students with registration, informing families in both Spanish and English about what college means, about financial aid, about all the great supports we have. And so this is part of our ongoing effort to really serve our community. I also wanted to share with the trustees, it's attached to the agenda, the roster of evaluators who will be attending the ACCJC review and part of our overall evaluation. Vice President Martinez Garcia and I have been in constant contact with ACCJC and our team chair, Tim Karas. And so we're in the process of putting together events for March 11th. There will be a time for the trustees as well as the leadership around accreditation to attend a forum, and then there will be a community forum for the college, for students, faculty, staff, to also share any feedback that they would like to share with the commission. So just wanted to, codify and make it official that these are our team visitors. So you'll be hearing more from them. Also wanted to acknowledge the students who participated in the student panel on February 26th. It's my intention to continue to elevate student voices because I think we spend a lot of our time designing around students without talking to students. And so we ought not just presume what it is they want or what it is they care about. We should also ask them. And so I intend to make that a regular part of the way that we plan and move forward. Dr. Scott Atkins also participated in a presentation with me to the Auto Center Dealers Association to talk about Roadrunner Motors and the work going forward on that project, which is very exciting. We recently got feedback from DSA on that project, so we should be moving forward. I also wanted to acknowledge and thank Trustee Oden for attending the Palm Springs City Council meeting where Scott Atkins and I also talked about the west expansion at Palm Springs and the new campus. I also wanted to announce that the college is working with the Department of Parole to have a monthly resource fair here on campus, and the campus will be one of those resources so that people who are formerly incarcerated get a direct connection to college, because we all know that the relationship between education and recidivism is very powerful. Also wanted to acknowledge that on January 31st, we had our leadership management retreat where we focused on how we use our strengths strategically using the Gallup Strengths Quest tool. And on February 1st, I conducted a campus-wide forum regarding the Schnitzer proposal and the generous gift that Mr. Jordan Schnitzer is providing to the College of the Desert. I also want to announce that we recently got a designation from College Corps that they are fully funding us again. And that's a big part of our Find Food Bank effort and our pantry. I see Jocelyn in the front there, and she's a big part of that effort. Thank you, Jocelyn. As well as Lizbeth, of course. I also want to announce that we found out that we received 2 grants. One is a grant that we are doing jointly with CSUSB as it relates to healthcare pathways, and a grant in coordination with Palm Springs Unified, focused on healthcare. And I want to thank the folks who also attended the Lisa Willander bench recognition for her generous gift to the college. And then finally, this is the last meeting that Alicia Stein-Maines will be attending. And so I wanted to publicly thank her for everything that she's done to support us at College of the Desert. I know the trustees in particular and I all count on her wisdom and her support. And so we just have a little gift for you, Alicia, and want to thank you. The wine is for later, Alicia, not right now. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that some of the board members may want to say something to Alicia. Anybody?
Just thank you, Alicia. I think you came and helped us out in a time where we needed a lot of guidance from legal counsel. And I think you came and righted the ship, if you will, as it relates to a lot of things that were going on internally. So really appreciate that. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you because I was the newbie and you really took time to assist me with a lot of questions. I won't forget it. Thank you so much.
I also want to say thank you to you, and thank you for all of your guidance. I think it's fitting that we're about to enter into March, and you're a prime example of, the strength and power of women and what they can do. And I agree with Trustee Perez. You guided us through some difficult moments, and for that, we will always appreciate you. I know you can't stay away from us. I'm sure we're going to see you somewhere. But thank you very much. I really appreciate you. And I think, we've transitioned into another amazing person. So that's going to be great to have that continuous support from 2 strong attorneys. So thank you so much. I wish you the absolute best. I can see you becoming AG or something one day. Something's going to happen. So thank you, Alicia. And I know you found some great places to eat. Yeah.
And I want to personally thank you because I know last year I had a very, very difficult time being the chair of the board with everything that was going on. And if it wasn't for you, I don't know how I would have kept my sanity. I really don't. So I really thank you from the very bottom of my heart. I know we were on the phone almost constantly sometimes, or it seemed that way. But thank you so much for everything that you've done for our college, our board, our college, and our students and our community. Thank you very, very much. Trustee Kinnaman, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting you're out there.
Yes, I just want to echo our gratitude that's already been expressed by my fellow trustees, Alicia. So thank you.
Okay, moving on, the consent, there was one thing that I forgot to mention in my report. I hope that my fellow trustees won't be mad at me for bringing this up, but we were giving information about those faculty members and members of our college community that are taking graduate work, working on graduate work, and I wanted to congratulate everyone that's completed their graduate work that they're working on, and congratulate everyone that is continuing on with their graduate work. I know how difficult that can be when you're working full-time. And I was really, really impressed with the list of individuals and the amount of dedication that's involved with that. So I did want to congratulate those people and thank them for that commitment. So moving on now. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. Are there any requests to separately consider any of the consent items?
I do, Madam Chair. Under 10.2,
10.2.
number 1, 23, and 24.
23 and 24. Okay. Are there any other items to be pulled? Okay. Hearing no other items, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, having pulled 10.2, numbers 1, 23, and 24?
So moved.
Or actually, we just pulled the agenda item, is that correct? We'll just pull agenda item 10.2 and then we'll discuss it separately once it's pulled. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the consent with the omission of 10.2, which we'll bring up in action?
So moved.
Thank you, and I apologize before. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second to approve the consent agenda as presented, having pulled 10.2. Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we have pulled consent item 10.2. It will now become 11.01. Okay, so we're going to be listing it for separate discussion and consideration. Do I have a motion to approve? Do you want to make the motion again and pull out those 3 items?
Remake the motion to.
Yes. Yeah, because now
consider
we're
for
making the
separate
motion to consider.
vote. Yes, number 1, 23, and 24. Or item 11.01, right?
Okay, so
We'll get it right one of these days.
We'll consider those, we'll consider 11.01 is the former 10.2, and we're just considering items number 1, number 23, and number 24 in your motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then we'll consider the rest in the second motion.
I see Carlos wants to say something.
I just wanted clarity, Trustee Gonzalez. Are you wanting to act on each one individually, or you want to act on them as a group?
No, individually.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So then we want each one of those separate.
Yeah, Madam Chair, so it sounds like to me that a good option perhaps would be that we do a motion to divide,
Okay,
and that you pull out item number 1, number 23, number 24, and then the rest would stand alone. So in essence, you have 4.
4 new motions.
Correct. You're dividing it into 4 different spots, and then you could take each one individually if that passes.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, so do you want to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I like the way she does that. Yes, you figure that one out for me. Okay, okay. So now, what we're going to be considering, so the motion that you want to make, I believe, and you'll have to say yes at the end, is to divide the item that was pulled so that we will be considering item 1 separately as a motion, item 23 separately as a motion, and item 24 as a motion, and then the rest of that
As a motion also.
item that was pulled will be the 4th motion.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Is that acceptable?
It is, and now you just need a second?
Now can I have a second? Don't make me say that again, please. Anybody please second? Thank you. Okay, so now, this is the motion to divide. If we could have a roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis. Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, so now we are to, that was 11.01, right? The motion to divide. Okay, so 11.02 is to consider the former 10.2, item 1. Is that, would you like to make that motion?
I do.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so now you have those four options, and now what you would need is a motion to do something with them. It doesn't have to be
Oh, okay.
Trustee Gonzalez, it can be anyone.
Oh, okay.
To make a decision about what you want to do with number 10.01, number 1, which is now 11.02.
What would you like to do with?
I just have a question on there.
So
may
is
I
it
proceed
to
with the
approve? To approve it?
No, I have a question on the item.
Well, in order to ask a question, then we have to have a motion on the floor. And the motion could be to approve or to not approve the item. Does that make sense? Is that right?
Madam Chair, you can entertain the motion as well.
Okay. So I'll entertain the motion so that we can get this on the floor so that you can ask your question. To approve, this will be 11.02, which is the former 10.2, item 1. And I'm entertaining the motion, so now
You're making a motion, now you need a second.
I need a second.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we consider the former 10.2, item 1. Are there any questions? Now, you get to ask your question.
Now I do have a question.
Okay, I'm
Just
sorry.
question on this, is this expense still covered by the resolution? The original resolution for the Palm Springs Development Project?
It is.
Okay, so it's still within the dollar amount?
It is.
Okay.
Is there any further questions?
Just to clarify, we also have Vice President Garcia online who wasn't able to be with us today. And if, I don't know, Mr. Garcia, if you want to add anything or amplify my answer to support Trustee Gonzalez's question?
Sure. So yes, it is part of the 400 million. If at any point in time we would have to go above that, that item would come to the board for approval. So unless there's an item to increase that resolution, any contract that's being brought forward to the board would always be covered under that resolution amount.
Good to know.
Okay, any further questions? No? Okay, so we are considering approval on this item, which 10.2. Seeing no further discussion, if we could have a roll call vote.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez. Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Nay.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, find it in the back end here. Okay, the next item that we will be considering is part 23 of this 10.2 that was pulled, and it is item 23. So I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 23. Is there a second?
Second.
And are there any questions?
On this one, out of abundance of precaution for me, I believe legal counsel would probably advise that I abstain from this.
Okay.
So that was my concern, the reason why I pulled it.
Okay. I don't know if we want to consult with legal counsel about any further detail around the abstention.
And that's because of your employment.
Yes.
I think that if that's what you feel you should do, then you can go ahead and abstain. Yes.
So just to clarify, the nature of the abstention is because of your current employment
Potential
status with
conflict,
Coachella Valley. Yes. Thank you.
Is there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Abstain. Trustee
Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that brings us down to 11.04, which will be item 24. If I could entertain a motion for that, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions?
Same concern. And legal counsel has already guided me perfectly.
Same thing.
By the way, Bonnie, you did a great job at that one.
I'm sorry.
You did.
I kind of got a cold, so
You did
my
a good
head's
job,
like
man.
fuzz right now. I'm going, what am I doing? So I apologize to people. So if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Abstain.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll be moving on for the rest of the items in what was formerly 10.02, and this will be 11.05. And I'll entertain that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Unanimously approved.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with me while we did that. That brings us to 12 action items, all the regular action items from the Board of Trustees. 12.01, summary of investigation findings and board action under administrative procedure 2715 on charges that Trustee Perez violated Board Policy 2715, Code of Ethics Standards of Practice. Trustees, do I have a motion to, oh, wait a minute, let's see here. To accept the recommendation of the subcommittee as presented, and I need to present that first, right? Okay. I'm getting it. I'm sorry here. If you could bear with me. Okay. Allegations against trustee Ruben Perez for violation of Board Policy 2715, Code of Ethics Standards of Practice. Trustees. In or about January 2023, I received complaints from 4 individuals alleging that Trustee Perez engaged in certain conduct which, if true, could potentially violate the district's Board Policy 2715 Code of Ethics Standards of Practice. Trustees. Pursuant to the procedures set forth in the Administrative Procedure 2715, I appointed a subcommittee consisting of myself and Trustee Oden to review and investigate the charges against Trustee Perez, with our ultimate responsibility to bring back a recommendation to the full board based on the investigation findings. Once the subcommittee was formed, Trustee Oden and I worked with the district's outside legal counsel to review the written complaints against Trustee Perez. As to some of the charges against Trustee Perez, the subcommittee determined that even if the allegations were true, they did not fall within the scope of Board Policy 2715, and therefore the board did not have jurisdiction under Administrative Procedure 2715 to investigate such charges. As to the other charges, the district retained the services of a third-party neutral attorney investigator from Vander Meiden Muckus Law Corporation to ultimately 3 charges contained in the complaints. Charge number 1, whether, if Trustee Perez entered the Coachella Library on an afternoon in the fall of 2022 to visit classrooms in session, he acted inappropriately or otherwise caused a scene upon learning that the classes were not offered in the library during daytime hours. Charge number 2, whether, if Trustee Perez attended a class at the Coachella Library on October 20th, 2022, he A, entered the classroom over the instructor's objections, and B, introduced himself to students in the classroom, and in doing so, made comments in an effort to aid his reelection campaign. And then charge number 3, whether Trustee Perez made comments during the December 16th, 2022 board meeting with the intent to diminish civility and cooperation amongst board members and/or with an intent to demonstrate a lack of respect for others in the College of the Desert educational community. The investigation findings. As part of the investigator interviewed Trustee Perez, the 2 complainants, and the 3 additional witnesses. The investigator made factual finding as to the 3 charges using the preponderance of evidence standard of review. This is a legal standard of review, which means that the evidence on one side outweighs or is more than the evidence on the other side. As to charge 1, the investigator did not sustain the allegations. The investigator found that after a thorough review of the evidence, while the preponderance of the evidence supported a finding that Perez entered the Coachella Library on an afternoon in the fall of 2022 to visit classrooms in session, it did not support a finding that Trustee Perez acted inappropriately or otherwise caused a scene upon learning the classes were not offered in the library during daytime hours. As to charge number 2, the investigator sustained in part the allegation. Specifically, after a thorough review of the evidence, he made the following findings by a preponderance of the evidence. As to the non-sustained portion of his findings, the investigator did not find Trustee Perez entered Complainant 2's classroom over Complainant 2's objection. Rather, he found that Trustee Perez came to the class following an invitation from a student, and while interacting with Complainant 2 at the class entrance, reasonably believed Complainant 2 expressed hesitancy about him entering the class in jest, which promoted Perez to enter the class while joking back, "I won't tell if you won't." As to the sustained portion of his findings, the investigator found that Trustee Perez introduced himself to students in the class as a trustee and board member representing the East Valley, who was going to make sure the classroom wall was painted and that the learning space was improved because the students of Coachella deserved it, and that in making the comments, Trustee Perez sought to aid his reelection campaign. As to charge number 3, the investigator sustained in part the allegations. Specifically, after a thorough review of the evidence, he made the following findings by a preponderance of the evidence. As to the sustained portion of his findings, the investigator found that though some of the comments of the December 2022 board meeting, Trustee Perez intentionally disrespected Trustee Kinman and did so in a way that sought to create divisiveness within the board, since Trustee Perez made several explicit references to Trustee Kinman in a manner that reflected poorly on him, his prior leadership, and his campaign strategies. As to the not sustained portion of the findings, the investigator found that Trustee Perez did not insinuate that those who did not support Dr. Garcia had engaged in racist activity, nor do I find his comments about Dr. Garcia's tenure were intended to create divisiveness within the board or disrespect members of the DCCD educational community. Rather, the investigator found that Trustee Perez's comments generally and broadly implored members of the DCCD community to self-reflect and endeavor to commit more earnestly to diversity, equity, and inclusive, inclusionary efforts, Based on the sustained portions of the findings for charges number 2 and 3, the subcommittee consisting of Trustee Odin and myself met to discuss if we believe that Trustee Perez's conduct violated Board Policy 2715. It is the subcommittee's conclusion that as to the sustained conduct, Trustee Perez's conduct violated the following provisions of Board Policy 2715. As to charge 2. Did I lose a page? Two. Okay. As to charge 2, Code of Conduct, Item D, an individual trustee has no legal authority outside the meeting of the board to direct staff, including the superintendent president, and should conduct relationships with college employees, students, local citizenry, and the media on that basis. Code of Conduct, Item F, resist pressure to use the position of a trustee to benefit either personally or any other individual employee or community group or agency which diminishes the general welfare of the DCCD. Trustees should also accurately account for expenses. As to charge 3, Code of Conduct, Item B, work with fellow board members in a spirit of civility and cooperation in spite of differences of opinion that may arise during vigorous debates of point of view. Based on this assessment, it is now this subcommittee's responsibility to make a recommendation as to actions, if any, the board should take to address Trustee Perez's conduct. Administrative Procedure 2715 outlines 4 types of actions the board may take if a violation of Board Policy 2715 is found to have occurred. 1 is corrective action unnecessary. 2 is a warning. 3 is a reprimand. And 4 is censure. Here, the subcommittee recommends that the Board of Trustees, or that this board issue Trustee Perez a warning, reminding not just Trustee Perez, but all members of the board, including this subcommittee, of the following. First, as trustees, we have an obligation to comply with district policies and procedures. We understand Trustee Perez's desire to respond to constituents' needs or requests, specifically here a student's invitation to attend a class at the Coachella Library. However, before any of us can respond to such requests or similar invitations, we must ensure we are abiding by district procedures and respecting faculty rights. Moving forward, we are reminding Trustee Perez and the rest of the board that it is our obligation to check with President Hope before accepting such invitations so that she or her staff may coordinate with faculty, department chairs, or other administrators as needed. Second, no individual member of the board has the authority to make representations or promises to members of the public on behalf of the district until a majority of the board takes action within the scope of the board's authority. While it is commendable that Trustee Perez wanted to ensure the students across the district are taught in spaces that are conducive to learning, it was not Trustee Perez's place to represent that he was going to make sure that the learning spaces at the Coachella Library were improved. Rather, he could have represented to the students that he would speak with district leadership about their and his concerns about the state of the classrooms so that the district staff or the full board could address the issues accordingly. Further, to the extent that Trustee Perez engaged in campaign speech in making such promises, he had an obligation to separate his role as a trustee from that of a candidate for an elected office. Moving forward, and particularly as we enter another election cycle, we remind Trustee Perez as well as the entirety of this board that we must distinguish our roles as trustee from our roles as candidates for elected office. We cannot use the access we may have to district-run activities or events by virtue of our position as trustees as a campaign tool. We need to resist the urge to take improper advantage of such access. Third, while we may not always agree with our colleagues on this board, we have an obligation to engage with each other in a civil and productive manner. Name-calling or throwing accusations around at each other will not be tolerated from any member of this board. We are the public faces of the district and must lead by example. Ultimately, Trustee Oden and I do not believe that anything more than a warning is warranted in response to the charges sustained in investigation findings against Trustee Perez. First, there is no indication that Trustee Perez has repeated any of the sustained conduct within the last year. Second, recommending censure or even a formal recommend based on the sustained facts alone would result in this board treating Trustee Perez differently than it does other members of the board when there have been times where other members of this body, past and present, may have not engaged with their colleagues on this board with civility and respect. All members of this board must be aware of their civility obligations. In fact, as board chair, I will be asking President Hope to schedule another study session for the board to address the role of the board in civility and decorum issues. Third, we believe a warning is more conducive to Trustee Perez learning from his prior missteps. A reprimand or censure implies punishment, which we do not feel is necessary here. Prior to any discussion, I will need a motion and a second to support the subcommittee's recommendation to issue a warning to Trustee Perez pursuant to Administrative Procedure 2715 in response to the sustained findings and underlying the charges made against him. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Before I open this item up for full discussion, I would like to first give Trustee Perez the opportunity to respond to the charges, investigative findings, and the subcommittee's recommendation. Trustee Perez, is there anything you would like to share?
I don't agree, but I understand what's going on here. So no, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard? Seeing none, hearing no other comments, President Hope, please take a roll call vote on the motion on the table.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
No.
Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
No.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And at this time, we'll move into 12.02, resolution number 021524-5, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees, amending resolution number 042623-1 to conduct comprehensive forensic contract and information technology audits and allow the president to participate in the subcommittee meetings and audits and related. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 021524-5 in the subcommittee's recommendations as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Before we open discussion, President Hope, will you please help us introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This past month, we had a meeting between the subcommittee members, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pettis, and they also graciously included me along with our legal counsel to discuss the way forward with the forensic audit that the trustees had desired. In our discussion with members of Hensley Law Group, we discussed that part of the way forward would be to re-include the president's office in the activities around a forensic audit in order to support the conclusion of that project. So the first order of business is really that resolution of just changing the exclusion of the president's office to the inclusion of the president's office. And then secondarily, a discussion occurred that Hensley Law Group would also then conduct individual interviews with the trustees to try to help focus the audit on their individual interests and try to find as much intersectionality in those interests as possible. We also have a representative from Hensley Law Group who's available for any questions or thoughts that either our two subcommittee members may have or any questions that the trustees may have.
Thank you, President Hope. Is there any discussion from the board?
Oh, I think you did cover that. The original trustee that made the request for the resolution excluded the president, and we're now, Trustee Perez and I are including, yep. Just so that the public understands. Oh, it's on. You couldn't hear me? Oh, my goodness, yeah.
It was on. Okay. Anything else from the subcommittee first?
Just that I think that this is an important inclusion because we're not able to move the audit forward without the inclusion of the president's office. We're just hitting a wall, a proverbial wall here because we can't move the audit forward.
Any questions from the other trustees?
Madam Chair, I know you appoint the subcommittees. One question I have is now that we have Trustee Odom on board, has there been any consideration for, since Trustee Yant had been on the subcommittee, has there been any consideration of putting Trustee Odom back on?
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. We have a two-person subcommittee. Anything further? Okay, this time we'll have a roll call vote. President Hope?
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to 12.03. This is resolution number 021524 -6, the Gordon Schnitzer Museum of Art at College of the Desert. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution number 021524.-6 as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Before discussion, President Hope will provide some additional context for this item.
Madam Chair, point of order.
What was that?
A point of order.
Okay, point of order.
Yes, under item 12.03, there was a Senate bill that was passed. It's called Senate Bill 49. It was passed in 2022. And it went into effect in 2023, and it's regarding campaign contributions. So I am required to log off and will log off and back in once notified to participate in the remaining of the items on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is he logging off? Okay. Okay.
So just to provide some additional context for this item, as the board will recall, there was a presentation on Mr. Schnitzer's offer to build an art museum on Fred Waring facing that corner so that we could both provide access to his amazing collection as well as arts education for the community more broadly. I wanted to ensure that the campus community understood some of the elements of that proposal, and we had a public forum on February 1st to discuss it. I think one of the primary items that the board should be aware that came from that meeting is a desire on the part of the art faculty to be part of any elements of the instructional components of the building, specifically classroom space, which Mr. Schnitzer has also generously offered to provide. So I appreciated their feedback. We had a vigorous discussion and just wanted to assure the board that the campus community had been part of a dialogue.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, President Hope. Is there any discussion from any members of the board? See none. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman is abstaining. Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Before we proceed, I did let Trustee Kinnaman know that he's okay to come back, so we may have to just give him a second to log back
Okay.
on.
All right, thank you.
And I'll let you know as soon as he does so.
Okay, thank you.
You're able to continue, Madam Chair. You're able to continue.
We still have a quorum,
Yeah.
so you can continue.
Okay, this is 12.04. This is the board's self-evaluation. Adoption of a self-evaluation tool. As, do I have a motion? Don't I have to present this before? Well, they saw it, right? Okay. So do I have a motion to adopt the self-evaluation tool that's recommended recommended by the subcommittee, and I believe was presented to all the board members.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you for doing that. Before discussion, President Hope will provide some additional context for this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As required by ACCJC, our regional accreditor, a self-evaluation is an important part of our governance standards. The last board self-evaluation was done in 21-22. So it's important that this activity be resumed before our accreditation visit. Undoubtedly, it will be a component of the review. I had the opportunity to meet with both trustees Gonzalez and Stefan, and there are 2 models being proposed and up for discussion by the board.
Okay. Are there anything for discussion? Any questions, comments?
I wonder if Trustee Gonzalez and Trustee Stefan want to talk about the functionality of the 2 instruments that you selected for recommendation?
Want me to do that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, what we did was we selected 2 instruments. The public's probably not aware, when we evaluate ourselves as a board, we've always evaluated ourselves as an entire, each one of us evaluates us as an entire board. And we never have the opportunity to evaluate ourselves for our own evaluation purposes unless we just go ahead and do that. So what we did this time was we selected an instrument where we could evaluate, each of us could evaluate ourselves, submit those, not for a discussion by fellow board members, but so that the board could look at that and say, maybe we need to do a training in this because 3 out of 5 of us, or 4 out of all of us, feel insecure that we're not doing this right, or that we need more help in this specific area, so that we could gear our training to what the board feels, board members each feel they have the most need in. And then after we do that, evaluate ourselves, then it might be easier for us to go in and see, how are we really doing as a board? Do we really feel that all the board members are doing this as a team, or, meeting this particular thing that we're evaluating as a team? Or are we, this aspect as a team, or are we falling short here? Based on the fact that now we kind of understand that this is what my role is as a member of the team, and this is how I feel I'm doing, but also now, how is the team actually doing? Rather than just going in and trying to evaluate a team when we might not be sure of what it is that, we know we're falling short on something, then we might be harshly evaluating the whole team, or we might be giving them extra thing that, well, everybody else seems to know what they're doing, kind of thing. Okay. So in other words, we're doing a double evaluation. We're doing one on ourselves that is not used for evaluation purposes by other board members, but only for future trainings. And then we're doing one as a team, so that we're each evaluating the team so that we can set our goals from that. Does that make sense?
So we're doing 2. Okay.
Yeah, but the one is not an official one. It's just more or less for your knowledge. And it's also so that the chair and the president of the college can look and say, hey, we got 3 or 4 people here that feel this, they themselves need this. So we can get the training that's needed for the board members. Be more accurate in our training, targeted. Okay. Was that at all clear? My head, it's all fuzzy. My head is like swimming right now. I don't know what's going on with it.
So
I apologize.
To Trustee Oden's question, like an internal tool,
Sorry.
like an internal tool for us. Just felt that might be beneficial to
I can see it.
continue our relationship.
Okay.
Are you looking for a recommendation?
Pardon?
Looking for a recommendation?
Motion.
Or motion?
Okay. All right, so move.
You have a motion on
Oh, we had a motion on the floor, yeah. In a
Second.
second. And that was part of the discussion, okay? Anybody have any other questions or anything about those tools? Okay, that was our rationale behind that. Okay, if there's no further discussion, roll call vote. President Hope?
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move into 12.05, Superintendent President Recruitment Process. Before we take action on this item, President Hope, could you please provide some context for this item?
Yes, for this item, we're really just looking for the board to give our Human Resources Department some direction as we gear up for that recruitment process. That process generally takes 7 to 10 months. And so we just want to confirm with the trustees the will of the group in terms of moving forward about the details of that recruitment so that Vice President Galindo has direction about how to proceed.
Okay, thank you, President Hope. For the trustees, there are two questions we need to address here. The first one is, does the board want to work with a search firm? And second, if we work with a firm, do we want to use PPL, another firm we've used before, or begin a request for proposals RFP process? In order to have this discussion, I will need an initial motion. So to open the conversation as it relates to the first question, can I have a motion to authorize the Office of the President to retain and work with a firm for the recruitment of a new permanent superintendent president?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, is there any discussion? I know this is all new for
Well, yeah.
one member of our
So
team.
it doesn't mean that we're dissatisfied with the work of the interim. This is something we decided to do when we hired the interim, so we're just following up on what we said we would do for the permanent recruitment.
Yes, because she's an interim and we can only have her for, I believe it was 18 months? 2 years. Maximum, yeah. But, so we need to get moving on this because otherwise we'll be
Yes.
stuck with nobody. So any other questions, comments, concerns on that part? Okay, since there's no, is there any further discussion from the outer space world? I feel like I'm in outer
No.
space. Nope, okay, thank you. Because I keep forgetting to ask you, so speak up, please, if you have something to contribute at any time, okay? So if we could at this time have a roll call vote, President Hope?
Just for clarification, Madam Chair, is this a vote on whether or not the board wants to use a search firm?
Yes. This is the first question.
Okay.
Does the board, what it is the motion was, it authorizes the Office of the President to retain and work with a firm for the recruitment of a new permanent superintendent president.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Now to address the second question, I will ask President Hope and Carlos to help us continue. So what we have to do is at this time, we need to address the question to following action regarding question 1, regarding question 2, the motion on the table.
So that's whether or not the trustees want to use a prior search firm, or would the trustees like to initiate an RFP process to evaluate other possible search firms?
Okay, so so in the past, the most recent firm that we utilized was the PPL.
Yes.
And the one that we used before was the league, California Community College League's search firm, and or do we want to go back in and do the RFP where we look and see what kind of search firms are out there and evaluate those first?
And just as a point of clarification, Madam Chair, if the proposals went over the bid limit, then we would also have to engage in that process as well.
Right.
But that would be something we wouldn't know until we went through the RFP process.
The RFP process is a little bit more cumbersome, and if we're looking at the timeline and trying to make a decision, I think that's what the important thing that we need to look at. Just how much time do we want to spend, because that's another layer.
Right. Okay. So,
We need a motion to discuss this. Are we discussing this already?
well, we need to have a motion on the floor so that right? So that we can discuss it. Does that make sense? So we need to either move to go through the RFP process, or we could say that we want to go back to PPL, or we want to go back to the California League search firm.
I move that we do a RFP.
Okay, the motion has been made to do an RFP. Is there a second to that?
I'll second, although I do agree with you, Trustee Oden, that I know time is of the essence, but I think just in efforts of being transparent and clear, since we did it the first time, I don't see any harm in us doing it. And you're right, it is gonna take a little more time and we're gonna have to do the interviews, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and Trustee Gonzalez, you've spoken to it once, so I'm going to come back to you again, okay? All right. Trustee Oden, do you want to speak to this motion? Okay. Trustee Perez, I'm sorry.
Oh, I made the motion, so.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to speak to it, question, or?
No questions. I just believe that, I think it'd be the most transparent process. I think the community would buy into it a little bit better.
Okay. Trustee Kinnaman, would you like to speak to this?
No.
Okay, and the only thing I'm going to say is it might take 1 month or 2 months, but usually the process goes by pretty quickly. It will require additional meetings. Okay, just so that everybody's aware of that, so that we can get that done. But I agree, it could be more transparent, be more effective. So the question on the table, the motion on the table is that the board will be requesting proposals for RFP process. And if we could have, seen no further discussion, unless I'm mistaken, if we could have a roll call vote, President Hope.
Student Trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item, 12.06, appoint a representative on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, member at large. Before we take action on this item, President Hope, could you please provide some context for this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I interviewed 4 applicants for the Citizens Bond Oversight vacancy. That vacancy unfortunately occurred as a result of the untimely death of Michael Monachino, who had served on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. As a result of those interviews, I'm recommending Barbara Foster Monachino, who is an attorney who lives locally, very active in supporting both the college as well as the foundation. And she's currently serves on the auditing committee at the foundation. And so I'm hoping that the trustees will consider her as recommended.
Thank you, President Hope. Do I have a motion to appoint the recommended applicant?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint the recommended applicant. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. President Hope, please.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, that brings us to 12.07, Board Policy 5800, Prevention, Identity Theft, and Student Financial Transactions, second reading. Do I have a motion to approve this item as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Odin. Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item is 13.01 under Human Resources. This is Public Employment Tenure Review. Do I have a motion to approve 13.01 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
So one of you is seconding?
We'll all first and second. How about that?
You have to have one or the other?
I'll-
Okay, I'll go with Perez for making the motion. I'll go with Gonzalez as seconding it. Sorry about one. Any discussion?
Just congratulations to everyone on your tenure.
That's really great. I like to see people get tenure. So roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Odin. Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
If I could just note, we have some of our folks in the audience. If you could please stand if you are being approved for tenure review.
And before we continue, I want to take a moment and congratulate the 4 individuals who were just awarded tenure via this action. If they would stand as I call their name, I'd appreciate it. Yolanda Bender, Assistant Professor of Hospitality Management. Michael Garrity, Assistant Professor of Physics. Michael Hamilton, Professor of Economics. And Whitney Shaw, Professor of Communication Studies. This honor is a testament to the dedicated work in your classes and the valuable impact you have on your students. Thank you for your years of dedicated work, and we look forward to having you on campus, continuing to positively impact the lives of our students. Please join me in another round of applause to recognize their achievements. And next, we have Public Employee Appointment Interim Director. It is now time to consider item 13.02 on the agenda, wherein it is recommended that the board approve the employment agreement for the Interim Director of Educational Partnerships and Outreach.
So moved.
Well, this recommended action will approve the employment agreement for the Interim Director of Educational Partnerships and Outreach commencing on February 1, 2024 through January 31st, 2025 with a salary placement at range 10, column 10 for an annual salary of $183,131.60 as well as provisions for evaluation and fringe benefits comparable to other similar leadership employees. Now, do I have a motion to approve the interim employment agreement as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I was operating in the future. That NASA presentation this morning.
You're jumping in.
I went to a portal.
Seeing no discussion or hearing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Odin. Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye, and
Trustee
congratulations.
Stefan. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, and congratulations. Initial proposals, public hearing and adoption of initial proposals from the Desert Community College District to the College of the Desert Adjunct Association. We now will conduct a public hearing on the initial proposals from the Desert Community College District to the College of the Desert Adjunct Association. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes on this topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on the subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of the majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. Would speakers, attendees who wish to address this item, please come forward. Comment now in the chat field or select the raise your hand button to speak. And IT, please set a timer for 30 seconds to allow speakers to come forward. And Armando, have any speakers requested to come forward?
We have no speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
And 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to blast off here. Okay, and since there are no speakers who wish to address the board on this matter, and having conducted the public hearing, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt the Desert Community College District's proposals and that the parties commence negotiations. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.03 as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, this is initial proposal, public hearing and acknowledgement of initial proposals for the College of the Desert Adjunct Association to the Desert Community College District. We now will conduct a public hearing on the initial proposals of the College of the Desert Adjunct Association to the Desert Community College District. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes on the topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on the subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. Would speakers, attendees who wish to address this item, please come forward. Comment now in the chat field or select the raise your hand button to speak. IT, please set a timer for 30 seconds to allow speakers to come forward, please. And Armando, are there any speakers to be recognized?
There are no speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
And time is up. Are there any additional speakers who wish to address the board at this matter? Having conducted the public hearing, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the College of the Desert Adjunct Association's proposals and that the parties commence negotiations. Do I have a motion to approve 13.04 as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
13.05, initial proposals, public hearing and adoption of the initial proposals from the Desert Community College District to the College of the Desert Faculty Association. We will now conduct a public hearing on the initial proposals from the Desert Community College District to the College of the Desert Faculty Association. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes on the topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on the subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. Would speakers, attendees who wish to address this item, please come forward and comment now in the chat field or select the raise your hand button to speak. IT, please set a timer for 30 seconds to allow speakers to come forward. Armando, do we have anybody that wishes to speak?
There are no speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any additional speakers who wish to address the board on this matter? Having conducted the public hearing, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt the Desert Community College District's proposals and that the parties commence negotiations. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.05 as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call vote. President Hope?
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Who did the second?
Oh, I don't know. Did we?
Was there a second?
Madam Chair, I don't think we had a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Back.
Well, just so we know, so if nobody objects to that and you move forward and another person speaks in favor, they can go a second. So in this scenario, Isaac could be your second.
Oh, the first person that voted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Isaac, is that okay with you? You're the second. You seconded it. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. 13.06, initial proposals, public hearing and acknowledgement, initial proposals from the College of the Desert Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. We will now conduct a public hearing on the initial proposals from the College of the Desert Faculty Association to the Desert Community College District. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes on the topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on this subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. Would speakers attendees who wish to address this item please come forward or comment now in the chat field or select the raise your hand button to speak. IT, please set a timer for 30 seconds to allow speakers to come forward, please. And Armando, is there anyone requesting to be recognized?
There are no speakers at this time, Madam Chair.
There it goes. Okay. Are there any additional speakers who wish to address the board on this item? Having conducted the public hearing, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the College of the Desert Faculty Association's proposals and that the parties commence negotiations. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.06 as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, do I have 3 seconds? Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Oden. We'll go with you.
Need to speak up.
First no one, then everybody. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis.
Aye.
Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, that brings us to administrative services. Action items 14.01 is budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.01 as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis. Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we are to 14.02. This is the 2024-2025 non-resident tuition and capital outlay student fees. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.02 as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? See none. Okay. Roll call vote. President Hope.
Student Trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez. Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we're to 14.03, resolution number 021524-3, authorization for approval of change orders, Indio Campus expansion project. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.03 as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just, it's always nice to see money coming back.
Yes.
It's great, so, excellent.
That was
Thank you.
really good. And if we could have a roll call vote, please, President Hope.
Student Trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Perez. Trustee Odin.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, 14.04, resolution number 021524-4A, resolution of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees adopting an initial study / mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the Roadrunner Motors project. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.04 as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to know if there were any findings beyond less than significant.
Not that I'm aware, sir, but I will also defer to Vice President Garcia in case he wants to amplify anything related to that question.
I don't believe so, but we do have John Christie in attendance there from Terra Nova. I don't know if he wants to step up and discuss a couple of the findings. Thank you.
Running to the podium. Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, John Christ, District Planning Consultant. We found that with mitigation, we added a few mitigation measures regarding cultural resources and to facilitate consultation also with County Flood Control, which owns facilities adjacent. Those have been added to your resolution, but you can make findings that with mitigation, there will be no significant adverse impacts under CEQA. And we would recommend you adopt the resolution.
Madam Chair. Just a comment.
Okay.
This is huge. We have members of our community that some of them lost hope because we weren't progressing and fast enough. This is really saying to the community, it's a step in the right direction. This is happening. And that progress is going to mean a lot, not only to the students here, but to the community at large, and for the service and future employment opportunities. This is great. I'm so glad to see it. Thank you.
Okay, anything else anybody like to add?
Yes, just to add to that, I agree with Trustee Odin. I think this is an amazing project. Having been on the board when we came under fire, I still stand by the decision that we made then. There were some concerns, and I do feel that this board took those concerns seriously, and the opportunity was there to look into those and I'm not going to get into the whole thing because that would be a whole meeting. But, as well, I know it's a great project. I'm glad to see that we are maximizing the amount of land that is usable. But, just wanted to make that comment since I was here during that process.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, President Hope, please?
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis. Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, and now we're down to instruction, the area of instruction. Action item number 15.01, resolution number 021524-1, to authorize designated personnel to sign documents related to the California Department of Social Services continued funding application for child care and development services. Do I have a motion to approve item 15.01 as presented?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis. Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I believe the next item is 15.02. Okay, because the number's not on this. Okay, so this is resolution number 021524-2 to authorize designated personnel to sign documents related to the California Department of Education continued funding and application for the California State Preschool Program. Do I have a motion to approve item 15.02 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
And it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, President Hope.
Student trustee Zarco.
Aye.
Trustee Pettis. Trustee Oden.
Aye.
Trustee Kinnaman.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. And that brings us to information items for the Board of Trustees. 16.01, January 2024, Capital Projects Report per Resolution 012122-3. This item is being presented as information only, but could we have President Hope help provide us with a brief overview?
Yes, thank you, Chair Stefan. At the request of Trustee Gonzalez and Trustee Stefan, we'd like to ask Moss to provide a brief overview of the capital projects report and give the opportunity to the trustees to ask any questions or provide any inquiries. Robert Rauscher is here today to give us that presentation.
Good morning, Madam Chair, trustees, Madam President. It's good to see you again. Here we are in February of 2024, and we've got a lot of activity going on. I don't have a clicker, so let's just go ahead and advance to the next slide. And the next one. Thank you. We have work getting ready to commence or already in action here on the Palm Desert campus, in Palm Springs, in Indio, as we know, and of course, in Cathedral City. Let's go to the next one. Starting off with the athletic stadium and fields project here on the Palm Desert campus, we're happy to note that DSA review is proceeding more or less as we had anticipated. There are a couple of things that DSA has asked us to do with regarding accessibility on the campus, but otherwise things are on track, and we are looking forward to getting this project started very soon. Let's go to the next one. The Palm Springs Development Project, of course, is a topic on many of our minds. I'm happy to say that our budget is tracking very positively right now. Our construction costs are approximately $10 million below what was originally anticipated. So that's an excellent point for us to be at here as we prepare to do our first formal submittal to DSA in late March or early April here. So it's really great that we are capitalizing on the direction given by this board last February and moving forward. And this project is very much on track to be completed as scheduled at the end of 2026. Let's go to the next one. Roadrunner Motors, as we just got the approval for the mitigated negative declaration, thank you very much. We are ready to move forward with this project in earnest. DSA has given us our first round of plan check comments, as President Hope said earlier, and we anticipate a speedy resubmittal and resolution, approval of the plans, and commencement of bidding. So stay tuned for that one. Next slide, please. The science building renovation. We are currently in our bidding process for this project. We have emptied out the science building and relocated its former occupants to temporary quarters, and we are now looking for a general contractor to come and begin this work. And again, we are tracking well on schedule and budget for this. Let's go to the next one. Now, the Indio campus expansion. This project was delayed by 6 months by the default of the original structural steel contractor. That puts us in a slightly later timeframe than what we'd originally anticipated. However, we are now on track to get the new building open and occupied in July of this year. And then the renovation of the existing center will be completed during the fall and winter, with the anticipation of it being available for classes in the spring of 2025. And next one. So this then is part two. This is the renovation piece, as I just mentioned, which is on track. I believe that's it. Let's go to the next one. There we are. So rather than go through all of the past projects, any questions? All right.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much.
No questions, but this is really exciting because we have projects from one end of the valley to the other and expansions on this campus. And all of this is for our students to improve their lives and enhance their opportunities. This just makes me so proud to be a part of this board and this institution. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Madam Chair, if we can check your microphone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us to 16.02 Administrative Procedure 3950. This is COVID-19 vaccine. This item is being presented as information only. Are there any questions from the board on this item? And that brings us down to information under administrative services. This is 17.01, Desert Community College District General Obligation Bonds, election of 2016, Series 2024, closing sale update. President Hope, could you help us introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As is noted here, this is a closing sale update. We have Mr. Adam Bauer, who's the CEO of Fieldman Rollap and Associates, to present this item as information to the governing board. Vice President Garcia is also participating remotely if the board has any questions. At this point, we'll turn it over to Mr. Bauer.
Great. Well, thank you, and it's good to see you all again. On January 19th, we gave the intro just before we got into the bond market. And one of the things I had talked, thank you. One of the things I had talked about was how few agencies are able to get ready for that beginning of the year. And that first part of January is a very good time to be pricing bonds. And so that work that your staff did through October through December really put the college in a good position. And when we came to you on January 18th, we got in the market just very shortly after that. And I'll give you some of the details, and it proved to be good timing. On our first slide here, what we're just showing you is some general information about the bond sale. We had $200 million that we sold. We had your credit rating, which we did a detailed credit presentation and went very well. then we had over $1 billion in orders. And so this is where we only have 200 million to sell, but we had a lot more interest. And so we actually were able to improve for you means lower interest rates. And we know that some investors will no longer keep those orders in, which is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to shake those orders out. And so on the day of pricing, we're able to undertake those activities. And then you can see here, we included some of the large buyers, and some of those are probably the names you see for commercials for a lot of the investment type things that we all consider doing. And those are just some of them. You had many more than that along the way. What we tried to show with this chart is some of that oversubscription. And so each one of these maturities had its own bonds, its own principal amount. And you can see there, depending on the number of bonds we had available, and then also the number of investors that were interested in that particular maturity, results in that level of oversubscription that you saw, and you saw that from top to bottom. Another thing to point out is there was not very much supply in the market at the time. So this was one of the big games in town. We did have the state transaction, which was one of the largest we've seen in a long time. And so some of the orders that weren't able to go there were able to go to this one. And that's what you can see here. So I talked about why does this matter and why do you care if these are oversubscribed or if we're able to improve? And that's really what we want to show you at this bottom here. On the pre-pricing of January 24th, here was our best estimate at where the market was. And hold on to these numbers, because even these are better than the good faith estimates we originally provided. Then we get to January 25th on the day of pricing, and you can see the improvement. That all-in cost went from 3.99 to 3.94. But what does that mean for your taxpayers? And what it means is your taxpayers, by those improvements, were able to have a lower interest cost of $2.2 million. And so that really getting ready and being able to price in the market is really important. And I want to show you now where rates have, let me take, I skipped over this on my head. So this is, just like when you buy a home, you want to look at comparable homes for sale in the market. It's a little more complicated here, but we're looking at comparable bond transactions in the market. And so the two to the far right were some comparable bond sales that we looked towards. And then in the left two were the final pricing and the pre-pricing for your transaction. All those green numbers mean we're able to improve from day of pre-pricing to pricing. And the other thing I want to hopefully point out is I've talked to you a bit about being able to refinance bonds, and we've done refinancings for the college, but they're often limited. Investors say, we don't want you refinancing us a day later, like you could with a home mortgage. They're lining up a lot of money. So what we did here is we looked to see how aggressively could we look to have a refunding option on these bonds. And you can see here, we're able to, with this group of investors, have a call feature that allows us to call the bonds beginning 8/1/2033. And that was really attractive, especially compared to that Regents deal, where that's half a year later than that. And so that was just another thing that we looked at as we were prepared to price these bonds, is both the call features and also trying to get the lowest interest rates possible for the college's taxpayers. And like I said, you can see the results there. There's something that I've talked to you about in the past, but you've never seen it in this format, and that says the AAA MMD. That's that municipal market data. That's like our Dow Jones Industrial Average that we look to when we're pricing these bonds. And what we use that for is it changes every day. So that those other deals did price on the exact same day as us, but we're able to use the MMD for those and say, how are we pricing off of the MMD? At what percentage are we pricing either higher or lower than that there? And so that allows us to compare from one transaction to the next on different days. So finally, on this slide, what we're showing you is kind of a lot of numbers here, but you see your $200 million in par. You can also see that we have your cost of issuance, underwriter's discount, all covered in there. And so like the college gets invoices from some of the other vendors, they're all pre-funded in here, and we pay from them from here. And then finally, looking at your good faith estimates, pricing, and kind of what all that means. Well, we, in the resolution, and I talked to you about it on January, or middle of January, we had an estimate of 4.25 true interest costs. There was a little cushion in that. We don't want to be right on the market in case it shifts away from us, but we ended up at that 3.94 range. So we came in at a lower true interest cost than we had originally projected, and that's certainly something we were hoping to do. Take one step back, if I could go to this chart, is this MMD. I wanted to highlight a few points. I talked about how important it was to be ready and get into the market in January. And so if you look at that 2026 MMD, the black text on that far left column, the 2026 is 2.68. If we would have priced at the beginning of this week, that MMD was 2.76. Then if we go down a few more points, like 2029, it was 2.43. Now it's 2.49. The short end has gone up, but then you can see here on the longer end, it didn't change as much. So 2034, we were at 3.29, and it's at 3.3. Finally, the 51, the final maturity, it was at 3.56, and now it's at 3.57, so very close. But if we just would have been a few weeks later, we would have at a higher cost, and some of those savings that I showed would not have been available to your taxpayers. So there's one other item, is Bond Counsel is now preparing a cost of issuance summary, and that'll be to you at a later meeting. It just gets submitted to the board, and you'll see that. But that's one other thing, and then we'll just continue to monitor transactions and provide staff whatever they need going forward. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Are there any questions from the board? Nope, I think you did
Great,
an
thank you.
excellent job.
Thank you.
Madam President, I would like to just thank Adam and the entire team. Adam and his team, our underwriters, Raymond James and RBC, district staff. It was a lot of work to get this issuance out in January. And the main thing that we were focused on is getting these savings for our taxpayers. And it was mission accomplished. So you saw there the significant savings we had in debt service payments. So I just want to just give kudos to the entire team for putting this together.
Congratulations.
Great job. Thank you. That brings us to 17.02, 2022-2023 Auxiliary Services Audit Report. This item is being presented as information only. If there are questions, we have someone available to address them. Otherwise, no action is needed from the board. Are there any questions from the board? Nope. Okay, 17.03, 2023-2024 CCFS -311Q Quarterly Financial Status Report. This is the second quarter. This item is being presented as information only. If there are questions, we can address them. Otherwise, no action is needed from the board at this time. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to 17.04, the 2023-2024 Auxiliary and Financial Report, a second quarter, October 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. This item is being presented as information only. If there are questions, we can address them. Otherwise, no action is needed from the board. Are there any questions from the board? And that brings us to 18, public comments. 18.01, requests to address the Board of Trustees regarding matters not on the agenda. Remote public participation is allowed, will be accepted in person by email to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu during the meeting and submitted for the record, or by using the raise your hand function by joining the Zoom link. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes per topic. All comments must be submitted or brought forward prior to the end of the public comments section. As an additional note, this item is intended for members of the public who wish to speak regarding matters not related to the agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair. We have one individual who requested to speak here in person, and that is Dominic Moonhart.
All right, thank you. Come forward, Dominic.
Hello, Board of Trustees. I just wanted to come and just leave comments for the Palm Springs campus. I was at that city council meeting, and Trustee Oden and President Hope was there, and I've given up on that project until that meeting, just because of the controversy and the detours and the delays and everything that's been going on with that campus. But you know, looking at the presentation now and with new leaders here and President Hope being a part of being really optimistic on opening that campus, I'm kind of optimistic as well because the West Valley really needs a campus and they deserve a campus for the College of the Desert. And what really got me was the casino management, just because we don't have that much gaming in California except for our area. I always consider us as the Reno of California. But what my concern is when President Hope leaves us, if she leaves us, is will it be delayed again or detoured or being stalled again? That's just my fear, just because it's happened already. And I don't want that to repeat again. I just want this project to be done. Yeah, it's not everything we wanted. Yeah, it would have been cool seeing the bungalows, but those are not needed. But I don't want this project to be delayed again. Just let's move forward with it. Let's get it done. Let's get it across the finish line. We are so close to getting it to the finish line. And I want that project to be done. And so I'm sure everyone in Palm Springs wants that project to be done. And so thank you, President Hope, and thank you, Trustee Oden and Kinnaman. I know he couldn't make it to that council meeting, but yeah, that's all my public comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else?
Madam Chair, that was the only public speaker at this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, future agenda item 19.01. Student trustee Zarko, is there something you'd like to see as a future agenda item?
At this time, no.
Okay, trustee Perez,
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
trustee Oden.
Yes, I brought it up earlier, but this is perhaps the most appropriate place. And that's on examining the board appointment for the McCallum, or restructuring it, or somehow reimagining who and should be there in order to be most effective.
Okay, anything else? No? Trustee Kinnaman,
Not at this time.
trustee Gonzalez.
I do. Dr. Wild mentioned in her report the dual enrollment. So, maybe in a couple of months we can get an update on what is being offered at all of the high schools and all three school districts, enrollment numbers, completion. I'm sure that's going to take a little bit, but just so that we're aware of how closely we're working, especially hearing that NASA presentation. Like, I think that's going to be a big draw in the future. I'm sure that's going to take a lot of work for us to be able to do something there, but I would love to see those numbers. So again, just, what high schools we're working with, courses that are offered at each, enrollment numbers and completion.
I'd love to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, and the only comment I'm going to make at this time is I want to remind trustees that should you think of a future agenda item between now and the next meeting, you're always more than welcome to contact the president's office or Armando and leave word with them of something you thought of. Maybe something pops into your head or something comes up in your area and you'd like to see that. At this time, we are going to recess to closed session so that our IT team can get their lunch before 12:30. They'll be happy to hear that. The board will now recess to closed session. The live feed of this meeting will continue. Board members and President Hope, I ask that you please join closed session at 12:20. Is that good? PM. Thank you. Is that a good thing, 10?
Have the trustees ever had a meeting at Indio or any other site. We might want to
going blurry because eyes kept watering, and I was like, I don't do that with a cold, so it's got to be an allergy. Something that just. Ready? We're going to reconvene to open session. There was no reportable action taken. I will now adjourn the regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees at 1:21. 4. My clock.